The stark truth is that global wildlife populations have declined by 73% since 1970.
Prince Harry took the stage at the Envision 2025 Global Conference with a grave warning. Wildlife populations have plummeted by 73% since 1970. He called for urgent, sustainable action to protect the planet. But while the message was serious, something unexpected sparked chatter far beyond conservation circles. When Trip.com CEO Jane Sun crossed paths with Harry, cameras caught a subtle moment. She addressed him politely, but refused to call him Your Highness. Was it a quiet rebellion, a diplomatic statement, or just business as usual in a world where titles are losing power? One thing's certain, the internet noticed.
We've achieved significant milestones in our first 5 years. The journey ahead remains challenging. And no single company can tackle these issues alone.
Prince Harry didn't hold back. With conviction, he reminded the world that 80% of the tourism industry depends directly on nature, forests, clean water, and unspoiled landscapes. Without thriving ecosystems, the industry crumbles. When forests thrive, we thrive. When water runs clean, tourism grows, he declared. His message was simple. Nature isn't just a backdrop for Instagram pictures. It's the backbone of global travel. And protecting it isn't charity, it's business survival. But here's where things get complicated. Because just moments earlier, Harry himself had flown halfway across the globe, raising eyebrows for a reason no one could ignore.
Did you notice that a certain Prince Harry flew from LA all the way to Shanghai to apparently promote greener travel?
In a balloon, or did he fly in an aeroplane?
I think it was a jet, don't you, Tom?
Right.
GB News wasted no time pointing out the elephant in the room. Prince Harry had just flown nearly 6,000 miles from sunny Los Angeles to Shanghai to promote greener travel. Greener travel. Let that sink in. A private jet ride to tell the world to reduce emissions. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The moment it hit headlines, critics pounced. Preach sustainability from 40,000 feet up, they asked. Social media lit up. Climate activists called it tone deaf. Even royal sympathizers had questions. To some, it felt like déjà vu. Another royal moment where the message got overshadowed by the method. Harry's speech, though passionate, now carried baggage. Every word about shared responsibility was weighed against the carbon footprint of his flight. And suddenly the focus shifted, not on saving forests, but on the hypocrisy many saw in the delivery. So while Prince Harry stood at the podium urging the world to protect the planet, back home, the conversation was different. People weren't just asking what he said, they were asking how he got there. And whether you support his mission or not, the optics of it all couldn't be ignored.
The stark truth is that global wildlife populations have declined by 73% since 1970. And with our coalition representing many of the world's biggest travel and tech companies, we are uniquely positioned to drive the change that we so desperately need. 80% of tourism's value is tied to nature. And nature is worth more when our coral reefs and forests thrive, when our rivers are unpolluted and our wildlife is alive and well in their natural habitats. And although we've achieved significant milestones in our first 5 years, the journey ahead remains challenging.
Prince Harry ended his keynote with a message no one could argue with. This fight isn't one company's burden. No single business can solve this. He said that we need collective action, governments, corporations, and travelers alike. His voice echoed through the hall, pushing a narrative of shared duty and urgent collaboration. It wasn't about blame, it was about unity. He painted a vision of an industry where sustainability wasn't a buzzword, but a core mission. But just as the applause began to build, What happened next would shift the spotlight, from the cause to a moment no one expected. As the applause slowly faded, Jane Sun, the CEO of Trip.com and host of the evening, stepped forward. The energy in the room was warm until it wasn't. With a graceful smile and calm poise, she approached the podium to thank Prince Harry for his passionate speech. But then came the moment no one saw coming. Instead of addressing him as Prince Harry or the Duke of Sussex, the titles the public and press have used for years, she simply said, "Thank you, Mr. Harry." The room froze. It was subtle, but powerful. A slight pause filled the air as guests glanced at one another. The media cameras didn't miss it, and neither did the internet. Was it an intentional statement about the monarchy? A move toward modernity and equality? Or just a slip in protocol? No clarification was offered, but the silence that followed spoke volumes. In an evening meant to spotlight global unity, Jane Sun's simple choice of words created a quiet ripple. Suddenly, it wasn't just about conservation or climate action. It was about identity, relevance, and how the world chooses to recognize someone once born into royalty, now standing on equal ground.
So our mission is really, while we are sending people further away, we are bringing the world closer. So as an individual, as a business leader, as a company, we ought to do our best to rebuild the trust through our business.
Jane Sun isn't just a CEO, she's a global force. As the powerhouse behind Trip.com, her mission is clear: to bring the world closer together through smarter, more sustainable travel. She's reshaping how we explore, connect, and collaborate. Under her leadership, the company has become a bridge between cultures, economies, and people. Her presence at Envision 2025 wasn't just symbolic, it was strategic. She represents the very future of global tourism. So when she addressed Prince Harry simply as Mr. Harry, it wasn't just formality. It was a subtle reminder. Titles don't build bridges. Actions and impact do.
Fresh from repeatedly telling us that they were escaping the United Kingdom because they wanted privacy. They hated the press. They hated everything to be involved in the intrusion in their life.
Kinsey Schofield didn't mince words on Talk TV. Harry and Meghan left the UK for privacy, she said. They hated the press, the media, and everything that invaded their lives. From royal walkabouts to relentless paparazzi, they'd had enough. The couple stepped away from royal duties, determined to raise their children away from the chaos that defined their own lives. But that decision came with consequences, not just public backlash, but fractured family ties, legal battles, and a life of reinvention. They wanted peace. But in the spotlight they tried to escape. The noise has only gotten louder.
I don't want history to repeat itself. I do not want to be a single dad. And I certainly don't want my children to have a life without a mother or a father.
Prince Harry has said it time and again, his departure from the UK wasn't about rebellion, it was about survival. I don't want history to repeat itself, he said with visible emotion. I don't want my kids to grow up without a mother or a father. The shadow of Princess Diana looms large in Harry's story. Her death, driven by the media's relentless chase, scarred him permanently. Now, with his own children, he refuses to let that tragedy echo through another generation. His choice to step away wasn't just personal, it was protective. But protecting his family meant walking away from the life he was born into. The royal role, the duties, the security, all gone. What remained was a man trying to be a present father, even if it meant leaving everything else behind.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile.
I want to reconcile with my family, Prince Harry admitted, but my father won't even speak to me. It was a rare and raw admission. A son longing for connection, blocked by royal protocol and legal complications. The core issue: security. Ever since stepping down from royal duties, Harry lost the automatic protection he once had as a working royal. And the rift that followed didn't just cut him off from privilege, it cut him off from his father, King Charles. Behind the scenes, what might seem like a cold silence is tied to legal and logistical battles over who is responsible for his safety. For Charles, it's a constitutional issue. For Harry, it's personal. His request to fund his own security was rejected. His appeals denied. Now, a once close family has become distant, both emotionally and legally. What started as a move for privacy has spiraled into isolation. And while Harry may want to mend fences, the gates remain closed. Without the title, without the duty, and without the royal guard, he's no longer the prince the monarchy once protected.
Prince Harry has lost his Court of Appeal challenge over the level of security protection he and his family receive in the UK. The Duke of Sussex was appealing a decision by the Home Office Royal and VIP Executive Committee to downgrade his security after he stopped being a working royal and moved to the US. Prince Harry's barristers argued he was being singled out for inferior treatment, but the judges said his sense of grievance did not translate into a legal argument.
When Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties, he also stepped away from taxpayer-funded protection. The UK Home Office denied his request to pay for his own security, and after multiple appeals, he lost the case. The message was clear. Without the Crown, there's no Crown-funded security.
Now, Freedom of Information requests have revealed that British taxpayers are on the hook for about $1.3 million in costs related to Prince Harry.
According to Sky News, digital reporter Riley Sullivan, British taxpayers are now facing the bill for a 4-year legal fight they didn't sign up for. Prince Harry's court battle with the UK Home Office over his loss of police protection has cost the public more than $1.3 million. When Harry and Meghan stepped down, they gave up taxpayer-funded Met Police officers, Sullivan explained. He's lost multiple appeals and will likely have to reimburse the Home Office. Add in his own legal fees, and estimates suggest he's burned through around $5 million. It's a staggering figure, not just in dollars, but in damage to public perception. The prince, now living in a $20 million mansion in California, continues to demand protections many feel he forfeited. And with court after court dismissing his claims, the question looms. At what point does the public and the system move on? Which brings us full circle. Harry left the UK, left royal duties, and lost the security tied to that status. His family won't speak to him, the courts won't back him, and the palace has moved on. So when Jane's son addressed him as Mr. Harry, maybe, just maybe, she wasn't wrong.
The problem that Prince Harry and Meghan have created, which is it's very hard, I think, it would be very hard for any family to reconcile with and have private discussions.
Author Douglas Murray has weighed in on the ongoing speculation around a possible reconciliation between King Charles and his son, Prince Harry, amid the King's current health challenges. The King has been ill, and his second son is missing, and deliberately missing, Mr. Murray told Sky News host Rita Panahi. The real problem lies in what Prince Harry and Meghan have created. It would be very hard for any family to reconcile with and have private discussions with a family member, which at any point could be turned into another volume of autobiography and memoir, or into a Netflix series. How could Harry be trusted, given the fact that he's in constant dealings with media platforms and constantly sounding off against his family? It's extremely hard to see.
Is there a part of you that can see you and your family going back to the UK, becoming working royals with the monarchy?
No, I don't think it's ever going to be possible. I don't think that, even if there was an agreement or an arrangement between me and my family, there is that third party that is going to do everything they can to make sure that that isn't.
I don't think it's possible I can ever be a working royal again, Prince Harry said. Not with bitterness, but with quiet resignation. The door to Buckingham Palace hasn't just been closed, It's been locked. His step away was supposed to be temporary, but after legal losses, public backlash, and strained family ties, there's no path back. Which is why what happened at Envision 2025 felt more symbolic than accidental. When Jane's son, the CEO of Trip.com, took the stage after his speech and referred to him simply as Mr. Harry, the room paused. It wasn't royal protocol, but it was real. Jane's son didn't ignore him. She simply addressed the man who stood before her. A speaker, a father, an advocate, not a prince. In the world of corporate leaders and global change makers, titles are secondary to impact. And Jane's son, a woman reshaping global tourism, saw a fellow human, not a crown. Some called it a slip-up. Others saw it as a subtle, unspoken truth. Because after stepping down, losing protection, and admitting there's no way back into the royal fold, Prince Harry is no longer royalty in practice. And Jane's son may have just said out loud what many were already thinking. A recent video posted on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new social media account has reignited public debate, and not for the right reasons. In the clip, a visibly pregnant Meghan is seen dancing in a hospital room as Harry joins her with exaggerated moves and playful expressions. While some fans praise the couple's relatable and light-hearted content, others slammed it as awkward and attention-seeking. Critics argue that the video, meant to feel intimate and joyful, instead comes off as performative and out of touch, especially considering the couple's past statements about privacy and mental health. The video has racked up millions of views, but also thousands of comments questioning their intentions. In the eyes of the public, the Sussexes are increasingly moving away from their royal image and deeper into influencer territory, a shift that's raising eyebrows in both media circles and professional ones, including at high-level global events.
I possibly am going to be sick live on the television. Meghan Markle has posted a cringy video of her and Prince Harry dancing in a hospital.
Kinsey Schofield, a commentator at Talk TV, didn't mince words. He's going to go crazy over this cringy video. The video in question, featuring Harry and a pregnant Meghan dancing in a hospital room, may have been created in good fun, but it triggered a wave of criticism. Once senior royals admired for their poise, the Sussexes are now being scrutinised for their increasingly casual, sometimes bizarre, online presence. And the backlash isn't just about aesthetics, it's about credibility. Prince Harry and Meghan are no longer working royals. That part is established. But every new social post like this, especially ones that feel overly staged or unnecessary, further separates them from the gravitas once associated with their titles. Which brings us right back to the moment at Envision 2025, when Jane's son addressed Prince Harry not as Your Highness or the Duke of Sussex, but simply as Mr. Harry. In a room filled with leaders, investors, and changemakers, formality matters. And her choice of words didn't just reflect protocol, it reflected perception. Jane's son didn't mock him. She didn't snub him. She simply recognized what the world is increasingly seeing. A public figure rebranded, no longer cloaked in the mystique of royalty. The dancing videos, the legal battles, the media docu-series. It's all part of the rebrand. So when critics like Kinsey call the content cringy, they're not just talking about one clip. They're highlighting the steady erosion of royal stature. And Jane's son's neutral, almost corporate greeting may have been the most diplomatic way of saying it. Prince Harry is no longer part of the firm. He's just Harry.
how Harry and Meghan have been bumped down the pecking order. When you go to the website, now they're much lower down. They're below Princess Alexandra and Duke of Kent, because obviously they're not working members of the royal family anymore. So they've been bumped down, and references to His and Her Royal Highness have been...
In a quiet yet telling update, the official royal family website has now stripped Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles. Assistant editor of the Mail on Sunday, Kate Mancy, noted this as more than a technical change. It's a clear sign that slowly but surely they aren't going to be allowed back in. The Sussexes, who once stood front and centre during royal events, now seem to be slipping further from the royal fold, not only in duty, but in recognition. Kate added that the pair surely couldn't be surprised by this development. After all, part of the conditions post-Megxit was that they would no longer use their HRH titles in a working capacity. But that hasn't stopped Harry from frequently reminding the public, and perhaps himself, that he's still in line to the throne. His bump in ranking may sting, even if it was expected. Now consider Jane's son, the CEO of Trip.com, at the Envision 2025 Global Conference. When she addressed Harry simply as Mr. Harry, the room fell silent. Critics rushed to call it a snub. But in hindsight, it might have been the most diplomatically accurate thing she could have said. Her choice wasn't a blunder. It was a reflection of reality. A reality the British monarchy is now formally acknowledging. That single moment at the conference has aged into a symbolic marker. Harry is no longer seen as royalty in formal circles. And Jane's son simply said what Buckingham Palace just made official. As Prince Harry transitions further from royal to public figure, the optics surrounding his new identity continue to deteriorate. The removal of the HRH titles from the royal family's official site is just one in a growing list of signs that the bridge between the Duke of Sussex and Buckingham Palace is no longer just burned, it's crumbling. The failed legal battle over his security arrangements in the UK cost Harry not just millions, but credibility. After years of litigation, appeals, and public grievances, the British courts ruled firmly. He is no longer entitled to taxpayer-funded security. The verdict was loud and clear. If you step away from royal duties, you also step away from royal privileges. Add to this the awkwardly timed and controversial social media videos. One particular clip of Harry and Meghan dancing in a hospital room with a visibly pregnant Meghan twirling and Harry acting goofy was meant to be endearing. Instead, it sparked criticism and mockery across platforms. Commentators like Kinsey Schofield didn't hold back, calling the video cringy and unfit for someone who once represented the crown. What are your thoughts on Prince Harry's evolving role and the way he's being perceived on the global stage? Was Jane's son simply being realistic, or was it a subtle snub? Drop your opinions in the comments below. Do you think Harry and Meghan can rebuild their public image, or is the gap from royalty too wide now? Let's get the conversation started. Don't forget to like, share, and follow for more insights on royals, media, and modern public figures.